And not just your wife, the husband, the kids, the first mate, your friends, your labradoodle will want to go. This may be the quietest, most peaceful, and most comfortable sailboat that we've seen in years. Well, I am going to show you the outside of this boat first. Stay tuned for the interior because it seriously will make your whole family want to go sailing with you. Far too often we hear the husband or the wife that wants to go sailing and then the spouse that isn't really all that interested. They may get on board, so to speak, if it's going to be super safe and comfortable and easy, if they have their own space and peace of mind, and if the toilets and the kitchen and the living room are of acceptable comfort. And this boat is of exceptional comfort. I'd wager it's so good they may never want to stay home while you go sailing. Moody has been around for eons, making big, heavy ocean-going sailboats to get you to the Caribbean or the Mediterranean with a lot of comfort and safety. But today, it's a different landscape in the boating world. Small, niche sailboat builders aren't the norm anymore, and everyone seems to be part of some group. Like Lagoon and Jeanneau, they belong to the Beneteau group. Well, Moody belongs to Hanse, the Germans. Hanse Group makes lots of exciting models on their own, but the Moody brand is still something special. Hanse is like Volkswagen, a German car company that makes all of its own cars, but also owns some very classy niche brands. If Moody were compared to Volkswagen's stable of brands, it would be the Audi. High-end, class-leading with all the technology and luxury to set it a rung above the competition. Today we're looking at the 48DS, and while everyone else makes a DS in name, this is actually a real Deck Saloon. A real Deck Saloon has the saloon and cockpit on the same level. No stairs or companionway, just walk right through, and very few real DSs exist today. Out back on this 50-footer, we have a functional dinghy garage. You fold down the swim deck and the dinghy crane pops out to move the rib out into the water. But there is a catch. While this boat is just shy of 16 feet wide, this dinghy garage is just shy of 10 feet. So your 10-foot rib that everyone commonly uses will have to be deflated to fit in here. But the builder assures me the onboard compressor that's built into this locker will pump it back up pretty quickly. I hate to take shots at this boat right away, but had they made a 10-foot rib fit in here while inflated, that would have been much better than a compressor. Also of note, on the stern rail, there's no crane here or fitting for the outboard motor. I guess the outboard will have to go in the locker with that deflated dinghy. Headed up the stairs, and that's right, they are stairs. We come to the back half of the cockpit between the twin helms, and this is where spare no expense starts with this boat. As the roof is opened up for us so we can enjoy the sun, we note that all the lines are let aft, and we note the big electric winches and the helms. We have full winch control at the helm, so you can perch at the back behind a wheel and push buttons to trim the sails in and out with ease. No getting up, no disturbing the family that's sprawled out in the huge cockpit benches. Just relax and push buttons with a clean view of the compasses that are mounted in the cockpit roof. And on that helm station we have hybrid touch plotters with access to the camera system in the mast so you can see the bow while you're trying to dock this boat. I asked if you can also see the telltales on the jib through the camera and was told yes you can. Also on the helm, and finally, a wireless charging dock for your phone. Every boat I helm every year, and I finally have somewhere to put my phone down where I can see it and it charges. Far too often I have to pull my phone out to check on my sailing apps or my wind or whatever it is I'm looking for. Having it ready and charging is kind of a nice touch. I know it seems small. We have large lockers in the back half of the boat, and an important note here, the lower half of this boat, the lower section, is divided in half at the galley bulkhead. The forward of the lower section of the boat is all quarters, the bedrooms, and the back half is all storage and mechanical. I'm going to show you that whole engine room in a minute, so stay tuned. Headed up the sloping side deck, we note there's no stairs, there's nothing to trip over, and the massive bulwarks on the side, topped with a solid stainless steel railing. This feels incredibly safe and comfortable, especially at sea. There's handholds on the coach top leading to the impressive chain plates. Up front, we have a massive sunbathing platform on deck with a small removable table. So if you're at anchor and a member of the family wants some private space to go and relax with a book and a glass of wine, this will be their spot. We've got double rollers on the bow, and I want to take a moment to talk about this. These are both electrically controlled from the helm, and the forward roller is a big 135 or 140 Jeanneau to use on a reach or downwind. When it comes time to stab up into the wind, you roll it up electrically, and the second furler is a self-tacking jib. I'm not sure you can make sailing any easier than this boat does. You electrically roll out the big sail when you want to use it, and you can roll it in partially to furl it. Or you can roll it completely up and easy as pie roll out the self-tacker to jog up into the wind. The main is in mast furling too and does all the same tricks. You can literally sail this 50,000-pound ocean-going luxury cruiser from the comfort of either one of the helms. It even has bow and stern thrusters with a sort of spot-locking system to hold you in position. So even if you got into trouble in a marina, the system can save you from crashing if you use it right. Now, this is an abnormal recipe for a sailboat. The builder explains that while a lot of people seem to prefer trawlers and big power boats because of the comfort available, they wanted to make a boat that those folks could appreciate but was still a sailboat. This has all the headroom and bells and whistles of a baby super yacht powerboat, but it's also got sails. Now, you might be thinking, oh, okay, so it's a motor sailor. It certainly looks like a motor sailor. It will have to have the engine running most of the time to make any reasonable speed, and you'd be wrong. Inspiration Marine took this thing out for a test sail, and it was impressive. They did 9.5 knots forward on just the motor at reasonable revs. When they rolled the sails out and killed the engine, 8 to 9 knots cruising speed upwind on just a full main and that self-tacker, and easily double digits off the wind with the Jeanneau in the main. This boat has some serious sailing chops. It won't point up to 30 degrees to wind, but it also won't heel over to 30 degrees either. It's not a race car, it's a grand touring luxury sedan that still happens to be very fast. The glasswork is excellent everywhere we looked, and the German manufacturing quality on every little part is top notch. Exquisite quality on every fastener and surface. As we head back down, we note again, no stairs, nothing to trip over. There are lines and shrouds to remind you that this is a sailboat, but for the non-sailors, it feels just like a big luxury power yacht most of the time. In the sail tests we've seen on this boat, we do note a little bit of a problem with the outdoor helm stations. These hybrid touch displays look nice and are very hard to use when they're covered with water droplets, and because both helm stations are out in the weather, everything out here gets very wet. While the inside, that we'll show you in a second, does have engine controls and autopilot input, when you want to maneuver in the marina or get underway, make sail changes or trim, you have to do it out here, where it may be raining and cold. And both helm stations are exposed to that. Not the end of the world, but something to think about. The cockpit under the retractable roof is deep and very safe, leading to the doors to the main saloon. And as we pointed out, this is a real deck saloon. No steps, just walk right in. The tinted glass is beautiful, leading to the galley, where we find a lot of luxury and top-notch appliances. We've got a side and top-loading fridge, standalone freezer with an extra fridge, even a dishwasher. And while this boat has solar built in, you can run all this stuff off the 10 kilowatt generator, which is industry-leading quiet. They have all sorts of technology to make sure you can barely hear the Jenny when it's running, and inches of insulation everywhere. In fact, the interior of this boat is so quiet, we just have to show you. This is a clip from Inspiration Marine on the test sail they did. They're in 30 plus knots in a squall, so they went inside. And I want you to have a listen to this.
Very happy to be sat inside, watching everything go on, warm and dry. But yeah, got pretty nasty, about 15 miles to run. We've got the west to east traffic coming up. There's 1 or 2 targets we need to keep an eye on, but luckily we've got a great view through there from the Deck Saloon, so we'll carry on.
How's that for the first mate that isn't very keen on going sailing with you? A big squall outside, and they can be inside and barely know there's anything going on. You can come inside and steer the boat from this nav desk, and everything is wonderful. This boat has this dedicated nav desk too, but you can also have a 2-seat dinette here to expand the social area. The dinette table drops down into a single day bed, which is very useful if you're on a starboard tack heeling to port. On the opposite side, you can drop the main dining table into a large bed and safely lounge on the starboard side. Or in a beautiful anchorage, you can drop this table and sleep out here with a full panoramic view of everything outside. This is the staple of a real deck saloon, a real proper panoramic view of everything. Sailing this boat from in here is excellent. You can control the engine and the autopilot and see all the way around so clearly. This is why we love a deck saloon. Now remember I said half the boat was a mechanical room? This is the engine room. You can have the Yanmar 110 or this engine, the 150. The genset is in here, the fuel system, the steering, the electrical transformers, everything. Fuel tanks flank the room on both sides, 150 gallons of fuel, 200 of water. All the through hulls are easily accessible to service, but we'd like to see wooden bungs wired to them. Headed downstairs to starboard, we have what's probably the kids' room or the guest room. This can be one big bed, or in this boat's case, matching twins with its own ensuite electric head and glass shower stall. Very beautiful. Lots of light in here with plenty of storage. Opposite on port, we can have another matching bedroom like the first one, or in this boat's case, the workroom. The laundry, the extra freezer, and all the tools and whatever else that you want to keep out of sight. In the hallway, we have the full electrical control panel with all the DC and AC switching and access to switches to turn the Jeanneau and other systems on and off. So if it's the middle of the night and you want to turn the generator on and off, you don't actually have to go upstairs. Headed past the keel stepped mast, we enter the master suite with its massive storage, its opening port lights and ensuite head. Space and craftsmanship and fine finishes. The door frames, for example, are solid oak with rubber gaskets to make sure nothing rattles when you're underway. The finishes in this boat are all very well done. The fittings used are all top dollar fittings, from the faucets to the bolts and things like that. There's even a demist vent system to make sure that windshield doesn't get fogged up while you're underway. There's fiddles on all the surfaces like we'd expect from Moody, and handholds everywhere. This is a proper Moody and a real deck saloon. And for someone with the capital to spend $1.1 million, which is the base price for this boat, I think they've succeeded in giving you all the comfort and luxury of the motor yacht you could buy, but with the elegance of a proper sailboat. If you want to see the sail test, check out that Inspiration Marine video. I'll leave it linked in the description. If you want to see more boat tours, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to give this video a thumbs up, we'd really love that too. I'll see you guys next time.